My name is Raymond Karchowski. This is coming to you from my home here in Cave Junction, Oregon. Tonight I should like to speak to you about a truth which most of you have not been able to grasp in your life for your actions, your behavior on this earth, and the hell that has been created from it is testimony to the ignorance, if you will, of who you truly are, what your spiritual estate is. You see, the message I bring to you tonight is that all men, you and I, and everyone who has been created since the beginning of time and born into this world, are Christ's. That is, they have the holistic energy, the holistic intelligence of truth resonating within themselves, but they voluntarily give that up to the satanic temptation, the promise of being a god in their own right through the instrument of human intellect. Human intellect is merely an instrument, if you will, much like the computers that I'm using to communicate this message to you. It can be programmed, it's programmable from outside sources which condition you to look at life in a particular way, to separate yourselves from other people who see life differently based on their programming. Now, that programming may take the form of religious conditioning or political conditioning. But nevertheless, those who will not think for themselves, who forfeit their ability to use their God-given intelligence to solve their problems, and give that responsibility to others who say they will solve them for you, but never do, never quite, are they able to resolve that which they set into motion themselves. Now, this word Christ is a mind control trigger that has been used for the last 2,000 years by the Christian religion, a most satanic institution of mind control, if there ever was one. An institution that poses as being a holy conduit to God, and yet they are responsible for countless deaths, more so than any other religion, in the name of God. Christians today are such shallow, mind-controlled believers who emulate a myth that has been imposed upon them by their satanic leadership. You see, the man Jesus of Nazareth was just a simple man of truth. He was not the godlike icon that myth has made him out to be. He was just a simple man of truth like you and I. But he lived truth. He spoke truth. He was truth. He told you that himself. But who listened then and understood? And who understands it now, today? Are many Christians who follow in his name? You know the answer to that. They are merely sheeple who have given up their ability to perceive the world beyond their limited conditioning. And so they have relegated themselves to being be slaves. And those who rule them, the elitists, the priests, the ministers, the governmental agencies with their policymakers, the bankers who handle their money, these are the people who have satanically destroyed their ability to be at one with truth. For truth is God. It is the non-dualistic energy of the holistic energy of what is. It permeates all of creation. Nothing exists before it. What these people, the Christians, you, most of you, have done was to give that up in return for worshiping graven images that have been imposed upon you through mythology, through superstition, through irrational beliefs that have no ability to hold up holistically. And so the fragmented world view that is one's belief system becomes their God, the God that they worship, the idea of truth. All ideas are fragmented, partial conceptions of that which is whole. That which is holistic, holy, non-dualistic, is truth, is God. Anything less than that, well, you know the answer to that for yourself without my telling you. You must begin to understand what has happened to you and make a choice, because all choice is based in confusion, you see. When you resolve the confusion, all that is left is truth, and truth is indeed God. That is the clarity that will lead you to paradise on earth, to heaven on earth. Everything else that you follow now is a lie. And you know it's a lie because you come in conflict with the limitations that it produces in your life and the conflict and opposition that you face in trying to support that partial, fragmented grasp of what is. Become silent. Silence is meditation. Meditation comes when the intellect becomes quiet, and one becomes at one with the emptiness, the infinite silence in which all things are possible. That is where you communicate with God. For God will never be found in the programmable intellect, the false God called Satan, which is the ruler of such intellect. Life on earth is very simple, but through the intellect it becomes very complicated, very complex. And such confused men and women who take great pride in their intellectual capacity, but are really the blind, who seek to lead the blind, are living in a hell of their own making. Now, Jesus of Nazareth was a Christ, the simple man of truth. And he brought that truth to those people he attempted to communicate with. They didn't get it. However, he became a threat to the existing powers of Satan, the organizations of government and religion of his time, who sought to have control over the masses of people who refused to grow up spiritually. He was much like I, in this lifetime, a living Christ, who is bringing the same message to everyone, and yet it is resisted with every bit of energy they have, rather than simply open their eyes and see the truth of it. I too have become a threat to the existing powers of government and religion in this lifetime, much like Jesus. Well, they killed Jesus. They solved their problem with him. So one must say that Jesus failed in his attempt to bring truth to the people. What was brought to the people instead was the myth of Jesus by the satanic oppressors who killed him. Well, I've done the same thing in this lifetime. I've backed down the government organization based in the state of Oregon, and I have exposed their impotence in dealing with a simple man of truth who holds to that truth, who stands in that truth, and none of their illusions could stand up to it. They sought to put me into prison for 30 to 40 years, and they focused their energies on creating two bogus trials, accusing their own juristic person, who was deemed to be the defendant, whose name resembled my name, but they could not link that fictitious person to this living man, this living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient man, a sovereign human being, a child of God. When I challenged them throughout the 121 days of spent in the hole in solitary confinement, they allowed me 6 days of being part of the open populace in the jail, but 121 days were isolated, kept away from the other prisoners for fear that the truth would be spread to them. Well, when it came time for sentencing on the two trials where they found the defendant guilty, I merely pointed out to them that I had repeatedly, through some 20-plus hearings and two trials, demanded that they prove jurisdiction over this living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient natural man. And they could not. They would not. They have not, to this very day, some 11 years afterward. They remain staunchly silent behind a stone wall of silence, because they have been challenged by a living man whom they have no jurisdiction over. Well, you see, when I refused to accept their offer of sentencing because they had not proven jurisdiction, they threw me out of jail instead of into prison. Now that's the message that I seek to bring to each of you all. Who amongst you has the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and to change your lives, to change the way you live, to change the world that you have supported in your satanic trance? You see, all the ills of the world can be changed by your simply removing your support of such financial support, and your psychological support, and your spiritual support. Remove that, and you become whole once again. You become the creator, the co-creator of your own life, without the interference of third-party intercessors who deem to be your oppressors. That's all you have to do. Don't resist evil. Don't fight evil, for that only gives strength to that which you redirect your resistance to. The Christ way to solve problems is to boycott. Boycott government and religions which take your soul and enslave you in its place. That's the message I bring to you. I lead you to the waters, salvation. But you cannot wait for a Savior to save you from it. You must drink of it yourselves and understand that you are your own saviors. Do that, and I assure you, your life will change instantly. The moment that you stop supporting the satanic powers that have taken your life, taken your energies, that have imprisoned you in a state of self-imposed slavery because you doubt yourself. Remove that doubt. Be one again with truth. Be a Christ. That is my message to you.